Good to see you. I wanted to chat with you quickly about the issue of education, which is probably the single most important part of my job, not just as a governor, but as a father of 3 young ladies who I'm trying to raise the right way. Book of Proverbs speaks to education. Train up a child in the way he should go, even when he is old, he will not depart from it. Education today is everything. You tell me the education they get when they're young, and I'll tell you what kind of job they're going to get, what type of future they're going to get. And the promise of this state was we had the best education system. And it was the great equalizer. It didn't matter how much money you had, where you came from, you could go to public school, and you could be doing great. Truth is now, excuse me, there are more challenges in the education system. And fundamentally, the choice of where to send your child to go to school should be up to you. And you need options. And whatever options you pick should be respected. My father, you know him, former Governor Mario Cuomo. We lost him in January. He chose to send me to a Catholic school with the nuns. He believed I needed a religious education, and he believed I needed more discipline. And the nuns tried mightily with me, I want you to know. They failed, but they tried mightily to instill discipline. They did everything they could. It wasn't the nuns' fault, it was me. They tried. I did more hours in detention than anyone in my elementary school. As a matter of fact, if you add up the number of hours I did in detention, I actually did 10 years of school in my 8 years. But that was his thought. And he sent me to parochial school. I sent my children to public school because that was my choice. There's no right or wrong, but it should be the parents' choice. And for it to be the parents' choice, you need options. Meaning what? Meaning there has to be a religious school open if you want to send your child to a religious school. More and more, these religious schools are closing all across the city. They can't afford to stay open. We have what's called charter schools in certain communities. And charter schools can be an alternative to a public school, especially public school where the public school is not doing well. We can't build any more charter schools because we're right up near the cap on charter schools. So we would have to raise the cap to allow more charter schools. Also, the tuition has to be affordable. And if you're paying taxes, and on top of that you have to pay for private school tuition, well then you're paying twice. And the private school tuitions are very, very high and the economy is slow. So people need options. I proposed a law that I'm trying to get passed in the last few weeks of the legislative session. The legislative session ends in June. And it's called the Education Tax Credit. And this is what it does. Number one, if you pay private tuition, you can get a tax credit from the state for part of your private tuition. So you will get, I knew I was going to get a reaction from the Reverend, but I didn't think it was going to be on the tax credits. That's the first piece. Second piece, any donation that is made to a religious organization that will then provide scholarships to low-income students will get a tax credit from the state. And third, what we want to do is the state would give a $200 tax credit to every teacher, public school and private school, who brings in materials to help the students in his or her class. That's what the law does. It is a law that helps people all across the spectrum, and it just gives you more choices. You want to send your child to public school? God bless you. I did. We've invested in public schools like never before. We spent more money on public schools this year than ever in the history of the state of New York. Fine. You want to send your child to a charter school? You should have that right. You want to send your child to a religious school? You should have that right. It's your child, it's your choice, but then we have to have the options available, and that's what this law is all about. I'm trying to get the legislature to act. It's not always the easiest thing in the world. There's a lot of them. It's like herding cats, but we're getting there, and I'm talking to them, but I'll tell you what's important than me talking to them is you talking to them. We have a website called Invest in Ed for education. Invest in Ed, one word. You go to that website, it lets you send an email directly to your assemblyman and your senator saying, pass the education law. I think if we have this, it is going to make a world of difference. We all try to do what we can in life. And we all try to leave this place a better place for our children. The best thing we can do for our children is give them the best education that we can afford and the best education that they can receive. That is the single most precious gift we leave our children, is the education system that we give to them. And this will make their education better. So I'll end where I started. It's not as a governor, it's as a father, as a parent. Let's do the right thing by the kids, and this is the right thing by the kids.